Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here. I got my guy Street Scores Rico. Make sure you guys check him out. A great Washington football team YouTuber, and we are previewing the Washington football team's Week 2 matchup on Thursday night against the New York Giants, a game that is really, really important for the Washington football team, especially after Ryan Fitzpatrick goes down. So we got to get this dub. How you doing, Rico?
I'm good over here, man. It's just rainy down here. I think it's supposed to rain here for at least the next 8 days straight. So other than that, I'm good.
Yeah, that's tough. But yeah, I mean, this is a huge, huge game for the Washington football team, and they got to get this win because after this, it's I wouldn't say it's like an absolute must win, but it's pretty close to that because if they don't win against the Giants, their schedule after that gets pretty tough, and they got to win this game. Let's start off with a few news things, injury updates plus some NFC East news. So really, we're healthy besides Fitzpatrick, obviously, and Curtis Samuel. Everyone else, like Gibson, has the AC joint sprain or whatever, but he's good to go for the game. And then what's good is as long as he's healthy in the game, he's going to get 10 days to get that rested up. So that's good news right there. No one else was on the injury report. And then on the Giants, they had Evan Ingram is out for the game. Shane Lemieux is out for the game, and I can't remember the other guy's name. Cam, some
Yeah.
other guys out, and then Saquon's questionable, but he is expected to play. But he'll probably still kind of have that limited role because, especially since he's coming off a game 4 days ago, so short rest. I don't expect anything big from Saquon. I'm gonna expect around the same production he had last week, same amount of touches.
Yeah, and I agree. I think honestly, strategically, you want Saquon on the field if he's able to even walk. But I don't think it's worth it against us. I think they should just save him, give him another 10 days of rest to get ready for their next opponent. But we'll see. But it's convenient that Evan Ingram is out, Shane Lemieux, their guard, is out as well. Their offensive line is in shambles. I feel like the Giants have the worst offensive line we may play the entire season. A mix of talent and also injuries that are striking them. So if our defensive line doesn't step up on Thursday tomorrow, I don't know when they will.
Yeah, it'll be really disappointing if our defense really allows anything more than I would say 21 points. If we allow more than 21 points against the Giants, that's going to be really disappointing. And yeah, Brian Harding put Street Scores link in there. Make sure you guys sub him up. Let's say hi to some people
Thank you.
in the chat. What's up, James? What's up, Luza? What's up, Jairus? Let's see. What's up, Christian? What's up, Justin? What's up, Patrick? What's up, Duck? What's up, David and Brian? Appreciate everyone for coming through. Make sure you guys sub up to both of us. So yeah, I mean, the injury news for us, relatively good news. Obviously, sucks that Ryan Fitzpatrick got injured because even if you thought heading into the season you rather would have had Taylor Heinicke, like at least me, I still wanted to see Fitzpatrick play. Like we only got to see him for like 2.5 possessions. Like we didn't get to see him. We didn't get to see how the offense would look with him. I mean, that's a very small sample size, and the defense couldn't get off the field. So the offense was barely on the field when Ryan Fitzpatrick was the quarterback, and it's unfortunate that we didn't at least get to see at least the potential of this offense with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Also, on top of that, if Taylor Heinicke gets hurt, which he's done quite a bit so far in the little times he's played, all we have left is Kyle Allen and Kyle Shermer, who's on the practice squad. So, if at the very least, even if you prefer Taylor Heinicke over Ryan Fitzpatrick, having Ryan Fitzpatrick as a backup is convenient. With Ryan Fitzpatrick gone 6 to 8 weeks, who knows what happens with Taylor Heinicke? Then we're on to Kyle Allen.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Kyle Allen is okay. Like you don't want him starting for you for a while. I would be okay if he came in for, relief, but we don't want him, starting a bunch of games. I think he's okay last year, but I just feel like he's especially if he has to play in the next few weeks, I think he's still very rusty coming off the ankle injury and then also the re-aggravation of the ankle injury in training camp. So hopefully Taylor Heinicke is healthy because yeah, that's also a big concern. I mean, Heinicke, is he gonna be able to, you know, be healthy, stay healthy behind our offensive line, because our offensive line did not look great on against the Chargers. Heinicke didn't get sacked, but that's because of his mobility. So really, I really hope the coaches emphasize to Heinicke, like, bro, it's like we want you to be aggressive, we want you to get some extra yards, but we we have Kyle Allen behind you, and that's it. So if you have to, just get out of bounds. Like, we cannot afford him to go down and go to Kyle Allen, like you said.
Yeah, and I mean, interestingly, I saw some article said that somebody interviewed Thomas Davis. He's not a part of the organization anymore, so of course he doesn't know exactly what they're talking about in meetings, coaching meetings, the organization meetings, as far as who they'll bring in, who they won't bring in. Ron Rivera's made it clear he doesn't want to bring in Cam Newton, but apparently Thomas Davis says if Taylor Heinicke gets hurt or he messes up, that he will call Cam Newton. I don't know how much to believe in those words, because Thomas Davis again isn't here, so he doesn't know what Marty Hurney, Martin Mayhew, Ron Rivera are discussing. But it's interesting for him to have so much confidence when he says it. Again, Ron Rivera's had every chance in the world to sign Cam Newton. It's not like you even have to trade for him, and he hasn't done so. So I don't expect him to, even if Taylor Heinicke were to play poorly for a considerable amount of time or get hurt.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm not a huge Cam Newton guy at this point, but I'd definitely rather have Cam Newton over Kyle Allen if it comes
Oh yeah,
to
for
that
sure.
point, just because he already knows the offense, and at the very least, he can, do things with his legs. I think his arm is a little bit, it's definitely not where it was a few years ago, but he's still very mobile, can get you some yards, and he knows the system and guys like him. So if Heinicke goes down, I would be okay with doing it. But I don't know. Like you said, I don't really know if I buy that. Let's see a couple questions. Joshua says, "Are you in favor of a big free agent QB sign next year or trade like Watson or Rodgers?" I think they definitely need to go after a quarterback this offseason, whether it be in the draft or whether it be in free agency. They got to do it. And because you can have seasons where, like this team, if they had a quarterback like Ryan Fitzpatrick or someone else like that with that stature, every once in a while they could make a deep run. They could make the NFC Championship. They could do something like that, like the Jaguars did, like the Vikings did, like the Eagles did with Nick Foles, because that team was very good, but they had Nick Foles as their quarterback. Like, teams occasionally with subpar quarterbacks or average quarterbacks make deep runs, but all the teams that have sustained success have elite quarterbacks, or at least very good quarterbacks. Green Bay, any team that Tom Brady is on, the Saints for a while. I mean, any team with Peyton Manning on it. I mean, that's just the thing. You've got to get a good quarterback. And the thing that I wish would have happened, and I don't know if it's going to happen now because of Fitzpatrick's injury, like a thing that I would have been a fan of is you have Ryan Fitzpatrick, and as long as he plays good this year, you bring him back for one more year, and you trade up for a guy in the draft, top 10, whatever, and you have them compete in camp, and you can sit him behind Fitzpatrick, or you can have him start right away. And if Fitzpatrick, or if the rookie isn't ready, you still have Fitzpatrick who can get you, at least to a respectable amount of wins. So that's something that I would have liked, because I think at this point they have, every team has holes. Every single team. The Chiefs have holes. The Bucks have holes. And yes, we are not. If you take out the quarterback, we're still probably not on their level in terms of like how many holes we filled. But we're at the point where we don't have too many holes besides the quarterback position. Like, yes, we need linebackers. We
Mm-hmm.
need, our offensive line is in question. Let's wait a few weeks before we overreact, because it's a new unit, and with a young right tackle. So we'll see about that. We have some holes, but I feel like we can at least risk a little bit of the future and trade up for a quarterback this year, or trade for a veteran quarterback.
Oh man, I agree wholeheartedly, 100%. I mean, you worded it perfectly. I mean, because my only thing, because I like Aaron Rodgers a lot, even though he looked really bad week 1, I don't think he's going to continue to look that bad. It's just like, even with Aaron Rodgers, if we're great, But if we don't win a Super Bowl, we're going to be right back in the same position within like 5 years. And then Deshaun Watson, of course, that situation. So yeah, I'm with you. My preferred route. I think we need to be aggressive no matter what this offseason to get a quarterback. You know me, I've been do whatever you got to do to get a quarterback for a while now. And I think draft is the better way to go, especially like you said it perfectly. Defense having a great overall roster other than quarterback, it helps you make a deep run every now and then in the playoffs. I think quarterback, like you said, gives you sustained success where you're good for 5 to 15 years. Like you're consistently involved, you're in it. You just need to build around that quarterback. Once you have the quarterback, you matter to a certain extent every year nonstop for a certain amount of time. So I believe, like you said, also, we don't have that many holes. Once we get the quarterback, we're great. I keep saying I think Justin Herbert just really beat us. Even the time of possession, they didn't even run the ball that well. He just made plays on 3rd and long that only maybe 5 other quarterbacks in the NFL can make. And I feel like once we can hit on that, the sky's the limit for us. I love our organization as far as the coaching staff, what we have in the front office as of right now. I love the depth that we're building, the young talent that we have. I feel like once we get that quarterback that can take us over the hump, and not even just talent. When Taylor Heinicke comes in the game, even as limited as he is with his arm, guys play more inspired football. Like it just felt like we had a chance to win when he came into the game. So just imagine a guy like a Justin Herbert or like Deshaun Watson without all of this stuff going on, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray on this team. Every time we hit that field, we feel like we can beat anybody, and how inspired everybody will play, even on the defensive side.
Yeah, and I agree with you. We need to get our quarterback. And I mean, something, at least I know, and let's see what's up. It's crazy. And what's up, Skins fan all day. Great guy. Make sure you guys check him out. It's been a while, but got to get on one of his panels soon. Great YouTuber. But one thing, and I know it's a totally different, not totally different, because they still got Eric Stokes. They still got some of those guys in there. Obviously, Ron Rivera. But in 2020, in the draft, John Keim reported like afterwards that like if they were gonna take a quarterback at 2, it was gonna be Justin Herbert, not Tua. Like assuming Joe Burrow was off the board, they were gonna take Justin Herbert over Tua. So, and I know some of the scouts that were helping with the evaluation aren't here anymore, but that is still encouraging that we can evaluate quarterback talent at least in terms of Tua over Herbert because everyone was saying Tua over Herbert, and we actually wanted Herbert over Tua. We ended up taking Chase Young, which I think at the time was definitely the right pick because like you already had Dwayne. I know it's hindsight, so we had Dwayne Haskins, who was a first round pick the year before. The coaching staff just got brought in, and Chase Young was sitting there, and he was a safe pick. So not going to get into that too much. Also, quick news about the Cowboys. DeMarcus Lawrence, he's out for, I don't know how long he broke his foot, probably out for like 6 weeks until like at least November. That's what I think I saw. So that's a big blow to them. And, we couldn't get pressure on Justin Herbert. Imagine the Cowboys D line, who is already with Lawrence way worse than us. Now without Lawrence, they're going to get no pressure on the Chargers. I mean, Justin Herbert's just going to be sitting back there and just doing whatever he wants until someone is open. I mean, I think the Cowboys are going to lose this game.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that hurts a lot. And then what was it, Lyle Collins, who
Yeah,
suspended
he's
a
out
few
too.
weeks? Yeah, it's just, and then the offensive line. I mean, you can't afford suspensions on your offensive line when your offensive line can barely even stay healthy as is. So the Cowboys look better than I thought they would against the Buccaneers, but it seems like they're already starting to crumble under injuries and suspensions.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So let's go ahead and get started with this game a little bit. Washington versus New York, week 2, Thursday night football. This is, like I said earlier, this is an absolute huge game for the Washington football team because they lost week 1. They win this game. They're 1-1 heading into week 3, where they play the Bills, which is a tough game. Although they did lose to the Steelers, it's still going to be a tough game, in my opinion. So this game is very, very important for them. And it's a game they should win. It is at home against a team that got really totally outplayed in week one against the Broncos. Like they lost by 14, but I mean the Broncos just I think they turned the ball over twice. The receivers in the red zone, just like silly turnovers. So we'll see. We should win this game. We're 0-4 against Daniel Jones, though, and that's still in my head. And if we somehow are 0-5 on Friday morning against Daniel Jones, and his record against the rest of the NFL is like 5-29, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself.
No, I agree. It's crazy that we're in week 2 and we're already talking must win, but it's because of the strength of schedule. If you can't beat, I mean, granted, the Chargers are a really good matchup, but if you can't beat the Chargers and especially the Giants, there's no way you expect to beat the Saints, the Buccaneers, the Packers, the Bills coming up, like you said, week 3, even though it's going to be nice to have 10 days to prepare for them. Will that be enough? We'll see. I mean, the Chiefs, we have a gauntlet of quarterbacks, even great defenses as well that we have to play against. So I'm not saying the Giants are easy because nothing in the NFL comes easy. But like, if you can't beat the Giants, how do you expect to beat those other guys? And that ugly, just 8-game stretch. I mean, the Seahawks are somewhere on the back end. The Raiders just beat the really good Ravens team on Monday night, and we played them as well. People consider them one of the easier matchups going into the season. So again, this is kind of must win just off of the fact that this is potentially your least difficult opponent that you're going to play all season. I mean, the Eagles even look really good. We thought they would be at the bottom of the division, but Jalen Hurts is ascending. The team as a whole looks really good. Devonta Smith looks like he definitely matters. We'll see how his health holds up, but you can't beat the Giants. I just don't see us beating anybody else, really, honestly.
Yeah, and let's say hi to some people. What's up, One Life Music? My guy, what's up, Roger Smith? Let's see, what's up, VA Money Group? Mullhead 89. So one thing I forgot to say about the game against the Chargers, and I mean, I think I made a video about this. I think 80% of the people agreed with me, but some people were disagreeing with me a lot. And what I was saying is I was just not a fan of Jack Del Rio's defensive rotations just because like I just don't like I am fine with like people were saying like because I was saying just or Chase Young and Montez Sweat not only need more to play more snaps than they did, but also these snaps they were playing that they were off on were really crucial. And some people were saying they need rest. And I somewhat understand that, but also, I mean, there should never be a time where your two best defensive players are out on a 3rd and 10 in the red zone on the first play of the game. It's or not the first play of the game, the first drive of the game. It's the first drive. You can't tell me that they're absolutely gassed. Like I know they've been on the field for a few minutes, but still, I mean, you have to be able to like it's fine. I guess you can take them off on 2nd down and then like if you really want to rest them, take him off on 2nd down and then put him on 3rd down because they had James Smith-Williams and Casey Tootle out there, and then it was a 3rd and 10, and then James Smith-Williams jumps off sides, and it's a 3rd and 5, and then they get a touchdown. Like that just cannot happen. Also, Cameron Curl playing 37 out of 81 snaps. That's criminal to me. Like that is not about rest at all. The people who are saying that these guys need to get rested, Cameron Curl played way more than 37 snaps last year. He needs to play more than that, in my opinion. Like Bobby McCain and Landon Collins, Bobby McCain and Landon Collins were playing 20 or more snaps than him each. That needs to be like at least all like pretty close to even between the three.
I completely agree. I'm right with you with the rotations. I mean, it's super stuck out when I saw Casey Toohill and James Smith-Williams out there in the first drive. And then what was even crazier is the fact that they were out there like at the same time. Like we took out Montez Sweat and Chase Young on the same play. I mean, honestly, even compare it. Like Joey Bosa, it felt like he was out there every time it mattered. Anytime it was 3rd and long, Joey Bosa was out there. He didn't seem gassed. So yeah, I don't understand that rotation as well. And Cameron Curl easily, him and William Jackson III were our best defenders on Sunday. And so anytime that either of them are not on the field, I'm questioning it. I don't care about gas. again, clearly, if Landon Collins can play 20 more snaps than Cameron Curl, why can't Cameron Curl play that same amount of snaps? So yeah, I didn't like that at all. I don't know if it's us experimenting, because again, last year we did a lot of experimenting. We just were like, let's try this. Let's put these people together. Let's see what this guy can do. I mean, case in point, in the Browns game where Antonio Gandy Golden got hurt, we were just forcing the ball to him, screen after screen, all kinds of stuff. So I just figured maybe this week 1 game, they were just trying to see what they could get away with, what they couldn't get away with. And I'm just going to assume it's that. As long as we go forward and we don't have to see that again, I'm happy. But that was definitely very questionable. Casey Tiller and J. Smith Williams on the field at the same time is crazy.
Yeah, and Silly Goose was saying that, all 4 of the defensive linemen was out. I didn't even notice that. That just can't happen, especially on a play super crucial on 3rd down. And it's not like, obviously, there was many, many plays where the starting defense was all out there on 3rd down and they got beat. But there was also a few times where it was like a few of the guys were just, backups, and it shouldn't happen. Also, like Montez Sweat, like, yes, these guys cannot play at the edge rusher position, especially when you're on defense the whole time. It's pretty hard to play 81 snaps in a game. But Montez Sweat played 65% of the snaps. 65%. Like, your second best defensive player, whatever, second, third best defensive player, should not be playing 65% of the snaps. At the minimum, 75, 80%. I think Chase Young played 86%. I want to see him out there for 90 or more. Maybe it's because it's week 1. It was super hot out there, and they've got short rest on short week of rest. But I think they need to get a lot more playing time, especially Montez Sweat. And I think Jonathan Allen had like 54%
Yeah.
snaps, which is like, he was our best defensive lineman out there. Deron Payne got like 12, 15% more. I think Jonathan Allen should be getting more snaps than he's getting. And I don't know if it's a possibility, but I think someone's thrown it out there before of throwing out Jonathan Allen on the edge sometimes. And I feel like that would be, I don't know if they could do that, but like, if you want to put your best guys out there, you could do that a couple plays a game just to get Jonathan Allen on the field a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of my friends named Ivory pointed out that like Chase Young wins a lot when going starting on the outside and then rushing back into the inside. That works very well for him. And so I feel like not only should we have him do that more on purpose and just bring like an outside linebacker to cover that edge on those type of plays, but sometimes do stunts or just straight up rush Chase Young from the inside. He seems to win in the inside more than he's winning on the outside. So I think we should just definitely mix that up into the rotation as well. And what happened to the 5 defensive linemen? I got to rewatch the film again because I've already been rewatching it, but I've been paying attention to other things. Did we ever run that 5-2-4 that they've been talking about all training camp? How often, if ever, were we out there in that 5-2-4?
Yeah, I didn't notice it that much, and I know they did it last year a little bit. They did it, but
Yeah.
I didn't notice it much this week against the Chargers. Let's hope that they give them some more snaps this week.
Please.
Especially Cameron Curl, like, he's got to be at like 60% of this. Like, I understand you have 3 starting caliber safeties, so they're all not going to be able to play 90% like they usually do of snaps. But, Cameron Curl should not be playing 45% of the snaps. He should be playing in that 60, 65 plus snap range. I think that's got to go up. Let's see. What's up, Juan Gotti? Of course, make sure you guys already know, but check him out. He said, "What's up, guys? I love us trying to get Gibson involved more, but God, we got other people that need to eat too." Yeah, man, this is something also in some of the keys to victory. We'll start with some keys to victory now. Terry and Logan Thomas need to get more targets. Terry McLaurin and Logan Thomas, they got targeted 7 times in Sunday's
Total.
game. All 7 of them were catches. They caught 7 passes for 90 something yards and a touchdown. I mean, we had like 150 yards of passing with like probably 35 targets. In 7 targets, we got 95 yards. I mean, it's simple math right there. Target your best player and your good tight end. target those guys. It's ridiculous that Terry McLaurin got 4 targets. I'm sure he was open more than that. And even if he wasn't, scheme him open. Like, that is something that should be happening. Logan Thomas should get more than 3 targets. I want Terry McLaurin to be targeted 8 or more times a game, especially when Curtis Samuel is not here. Like, Curtis Samuel is not playing. So Terry should be getting 8, 9+ targets in a game. But it's week 1, so we do have to, take everything with a grain of salt. But I think they should get a little bit more targets.
Oh, I definitely agree. And I like the fact that Juan Gotti did bring up the fact that, like, yeah, we do want Antonio Gibson involved more, because last year it felt like we were nerfing him a little bit. But yeah, man, at the end of the day, your most talented guys need to get the ball. There's no reason Terry McLaurin, I don't, like you said, I don't care what the defense is doing, you scheme him open. And then, like you also said, I'm pretty sure there was some plays Terry McLaurin was open, we just didn't hit him. So there's just no excuses. And then Logan Thomas in the red zone seems automatic. So it's just really no excuses as to why Scott Turner wasn't able to hit those guys. And I'm even surprised we saw less J.D. McKissic in a way. I knew he was going to take a mitigated role compared to last year, where he was literally like half the offense with the checkdowns that we were doing. But like J.D. McKissic versus linebackers in coverage is a nightmare toward like at least 90% of linebackers in the league. So I just feel like Scott Turner just needs to do a better job of scheming up matchups. I mean, the Chargers did a really good job of that. I mean, there was one play Keenan Allen started out in the backfield and they got him the ball underneath, and then he was able to just run for a first down. I think it was like 3rd and 5 or something like that. I mean, they just did whatever they could to get their guys the ball, and we didn't.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing though that we do have to keep in mind is that we played way less snaps than we usually do. I mean, we played like 50 something snaps. The Chargers played 81. So like the numbers are a little bit skewed, but still Terry's got
Yeah.
to get a lot more involved. And same thing with Logan Thomas. Chris Sweezy, my guy, thank you so much for the $5 donation. Says Rico and Pedro with the combo once again. We need this win bad. Our defense needs to step up, and I'm a Taylor Heinicke believer. Appreciate that donation, and I'm excited to see what Heinicke can do. It's not a full week of preparation, but he is going into the week as the starter. And how are you feeling? First off, how are you feeling about Taylor Heinicke going up against the Giants? And what do you feel like if Ryan Fitzpatrick was healthy, who would you want to see at quarterback?
I mean, I feel like I kind of want to lean towards Ryan Fitzpatrick, just because, like you said in the very beginning of the stream, like I
Want
just
to see
wanted to
him a
see
little
what
more?
he could
Yeah.
do. Yeah, I just wanted to see like what I mean, that was some inspiring football. That first preseason game against the Patriots, where it looked like the way he threw it to Terry McLaurin and Logan Thomas, it looked like he was the quarterback here for years. Then he went and had a dud against the Bengals. But I was just really interested in seeing what would happen. Now Taylor Heinicke, I really do enjoy watching him. Gunslinger in a similar way, just slightly more mobile. But I would say definitely has like a less strong arm. But then again, Brian Fitzpatrick severely underthrew that De'Ami Brown bomb. And that's another thing, too, to get slightly off topic with Scott Turner's game planning. Why after De'Ami Brown beat Asante Samuel Jr. that one time where it ended up being a pass interference, Ryan Fitzpatrick underthrew it? Why did we like never try that again? Like, why was that? We did that. It worked like in the first quarter, and then we just never tried it again. But yeah, between the two going into this Giants game, maybe with the Giants having a really good defensive line, maybe I prefer Taylor Heinicke. But just like you, I just wanted to see what Ryan Fitzpatrick could do before we moved on to Taylor Heinicke, because we have the rest of the season to see Taylor Heinicke. But now with Ryan Fitzpatrick out, we have Taylor Heinicke for 16 games potentially.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, I like Heinicke, and we haven't seen a lot. We haven't seen a lot of games from him. But from those games, I've liked what I've seen. But I just wanted to see more from Fitzpatrick. Like, I wanted to see him with this offense a little bit more. Like a few games, like the first game, the Chargers game, the Giants game, and maybe even that Bills game. And if we're 0-3, if Fitzpatrick is the reason we're 0-3, then that's when you're like, okay, maybe going into week 4, we try out Taylor Heinicke. And I still think if Fitzpatrick was healthy, like I don't think, honestly, I feel like Rivera would hold on to him being a starter even longer than that, just because it takes a while for offenses to gel. So I would have liked to seen a little bit more of Fitzpatrick. It's unfortunate that, of course, man, in Washington, like Fitzpatrick really hasn't had like he obviously has gone from starter to backup to starter again so many times in his career, but a lot of the times it hasn't been because of injury. It's just been because of his play. And of course, the first game he plays in Washington in the first and a half or first half of the second quarter, he injures himself, possibly out for the year. Maybe he's back by a bye week, but who knows? It's a serious injury. It's unfortunate, but let's see what Taylor Heinicke can do. Appreciate that donation, Chris Sweezy. So, what are some keys to victory, Rico? That you like? What are some things we got to do to win this game against the Giants?
Well, we've already talked about defensive line and offensive line. I think secondary is going to be big as well, because with the Chargers, their receivers were more like just taller, contested catch guys. I feel like the Giants are going to be, even though they have Kenny Galladay, overall, their speed on top of speed on top of speed. So I feel like it's going to be a slightly different game. Because Benjamin St. Juice was there a lot of the times. He had like actually pretty decent coverage to good coverage sometimes. It was just a great throw from Justin Herbert throwing it though, only where Keenan Allen can get it, Mike Williams could get it, and then they were able to bring it down the great contested catch guys. But this next matchup is just going to be a lot of speed, and I want to see if this secondary can stick with these guys when they're out there on islands with them.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a big one. I said this last week, but special teams got to be good again. I mean, it was
Oh
really
yeah.
good against the Chargers. That was one of my keys to victory, and they did it. Let's do it again. Like we can't have Dustin. Like honestly, I even though he missed a kick, I was satisfied with Dustin Hopkins' performance against the Chargers. Won 3 for 4, missed a 51 yarder. It
I
shouldn't have
blame
been a
Brandon
50.
Sheriff for
Yeah,
that one.
it should have. Yeah, like it should not have been a 51 yarder. It should have been a really like a 43 yarder because we had the 5 yard penalty. And then because of that, the next play, I think we threw a pass to De'Ami Brown like behind the line of scrimmage, like 2 or 3 yards. We wouldn't have done that if that penalty didn't happen. So
Agreed.
we got to be able to play well on special teams, and then the kick return and punt return game. Just do what you did last week. DeAndre Carter, take it out when you need to, but also like if you don't think you can get more than 25, or even if you think you can get to the 26, 27, just take a knee, get it to the 25 because you have a chance of fumbling, and also you have a chance. I mean, like a 30% chance of your team committing a penalty, which is going to push you back, and you don't want to start a drive at your 10, at your 15. That's not good. And Tress Way was a beast last week, like usual. That helped us out a ton. Like our special teams kept us in the game. I mean, Tress Way was amazing. Dustin Hopkins was good, and our return game helped us out a ton. What is another key to victory you have?
What just to piggyback on the special teams thing, I mean, it's so refreshing to have a DeAndre Carter. And it's not even like he did anything spectacular. He didn't run a kickback, but what he did was better than anything we've gotten from a returner in years, at least. So that was very refreshing. And like you said, Tressway is just a dog. But like when you said the starting field position thing, like you don't want to start within the 10, because I believe the only time we did start within the 10 against the Chargers, Antonio Gibson fumbled, and it led to that touchdown for us losing the lead. So yeah, I mean that wasn't the special teams' fault, but special teams does have to be on it. We do not want to start 20 within the 20 or back because silly things happen and all kinds of mistakes can happen. But yeah, another key to the game. We talked about defensive line, offensive line, but I think offensive line is a big one because it's going to be different. Whereas, like, I mean, Aziz Ojulari, that's my Georgia Bulldog, but he's not Joey Bosa. So I think Samuel Cosmi and Charles Leno have an easier assignment this week rather than last week. It's still a tough matchup, but it's not Joey Bosa and those guys. I think the interior offensive line has the more difficult matchup. That Giants defensive line, the best parts of it are on the inside. So we need to see if Brandon Sheriff, Chase Roulier, and Eric Flowers are ready to step up because I believe the top 4 guys that had pressures for the Giants last season were all interior rushers. So that's literally the heart of their defense. If they can step up and stop that, I think we should be good. And that will open up the run game. Getting the run game going will help Taylor Heinicke out a lot. So I think that's huge.
Yeah, I totally agree. And one thing I love is that, I mean, and you pointed out, like, obviously, the tougher matchup for us is, or the better players are in the interior for them in terms of Leonard Williams, and they got a couple other good players as well. I think they traded one of their interior guys, but they still got some good guys there. Who do they have besides Williams? I'm blanking. They got Danny Shelton, Leonard
Yeah, then
Williams.
because
Who else?
I think it was Dalvin Thompson, I believe, is the one that left.
He went to the Vikings. I think they
Yeah,
also traded someone like Billy Price, but they've got a solid, like their best defensive lineman is Leonard Williams. He's
yes,
on the inside, and I feel like Roulier is an above average center. Sheriff is a good guard, really good guard. And then, Flowers isn't great, but he's solid for us. So our interior is the strength of our offensive line, and it's the strength of their defensive line. So I'm good with that.
yeah,
And, their weakness, one of their biggest weaknesses on their whole team is their edge. And our biggest weakness right now, besides linebacker and maybe quarterback, is probably our tackles in
yeah,
Cosme and Leno. I'm honestly not very concerned with Cosme because he did not play well at all in pass protection. I think he had like a 15 something PFF grade in pass protection, but he had an 86 grade in the run game.
yeah.
And he had, if you look at the ESPN stats too, it backs up what PFF was saying. I'm not always a huge PFF fan, but Sam Cosme, I think he had the highest run block win rate out of any tackle, but the lowest pass block win rate, something like that, which is insane. So he's already really good in the run game. And this was against a top 5, at the very least top 7 edge rusher in the NFL. If so, he was one of the best. According to PFF, the best blocking tackle in the league against Joey Bosa. So if he can fix a little bit, just be like bad at pass protection, like not awful, not abysmal, but be bad, that'll like help us out a ton. And eventually he'll get to being below average, and then maybe above average next season at pass protection, because like we don't need him to be a good pass protector because we know that's not going to happen right away. But if he can be, below average, and then eventually he'll start getting better and better, and he can get to that, above average level. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
and real
and
quick, Dexter Lawrence is the
yeah,
other guy I forgot.
yeah, that's definitely a big. That's crazy. That slipped my mind too. But yeah, and it's crazy because Samuel Cosme, even as terrible as he was, like you said, Samuel Cosme in the fourth quarter was definitely better than Samuel
Oh yeah,
Cosme in the
he got
first,
better
even
as the
just
game went
pass
on.
protection. Yeah, so like I'm glad that we saw some progress. Still, I mean, at the end of the day, it's Joey Bosa. And I blame some of that on Scott Turner. I'm not gonna lie. I think he needed to change the snap count or something. Because sometimes it looked like Joey Bosa knew the snap count. He was literally getting off the line before
Oh
any
yeah,
of our offensive linemen and
I
any
noticed
of
that
their
too.
defensive linemen. Yeah, so it's like, I mean, Sammy Cosme, of course, has to play better, but I think Scott Turner needs to do a better job with the snap count because Joey Bosa literally looked like he was in the huddle with us and knew exactly when we were going to snap the ball because he beat Samuel Cosme before Samuel Cosme even like gotten his stance right sometimes. Like he was already past him. So I think that would help a lot as well.
Yeah, and I honestly, this seems really weird to say, but I honestly was probably, and our rookie class was not good on Sunday. But honestly, like if I would say the one player I was most encouraged about, like that played a significant role, maybe it's Cosme. Even though he played really, really bad, like
Yeah.
even though he played really bad, he showed that he's already a really, really good run blocker against one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, and didn't play great at all in a pass protection. But again, against one of the best guys in the NFL, got better as the game went on, and I feel like he's going to start getting better and better and better. And this is his first time really seeing a edge rusher besides Chase Young or Montez Sweat in a real game, for a full game in a while. So I think he'll start getting better. Didn't like what I saw from Benjamin St. Juste. Didn't really like what I saw from Jamin Davis too much. Again, a lot of these guys, it's going to take a while. And then De'Ami Brown, we just didn't see enough from him. He was on the field for a while though, which is, they're confident in him, and he did draw that PI. So maybe De'Ami Brown, but we'll see. I still am a believer in Cosme. I think eventually he will pan out.
Yeah, and I am worried about St. Juste because like there's definitely things to fix. But I do feel like again, like when I went back to watch it, he was there a lot of the time. The only times he got really, really beat was zone coverage. He just didn't know, like sometimes they just lost who was supposed to do what. passing this receiver off to the other DB type of things, or the linebacker John Boston was out of place. It was just chaos. But like when in man coverage, I mean, even the touchdown, he got beat. But I just think most quarterback to receiver duos would not be able to take advantage of Benjamin St. Juice like Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen did. I mean, Keenan Allen is one of the best route runners in the NFL, and then he's also really good at contested catches. And Justin Herbert was literally throwing it in that one tiny spot where Benjamin St. Juice can't get it, but Keenan Allen can. And I just feel like granted, we play a lot of great quarterbacks and receivers this season, but I don't feel like everybody is going to be able to take advantage of Benjamin St. Juice like they did. So, like, of course, I agree he needs to get way better than what he was. Also feel like offenses won't be able to abuse where he is right now as much and take advantage of it as much as the Chargers did, especially not the Giants with Daniel Jones.
Yeah. And I feel like almost all of these rookies, like 90% of these rookies, will get better as the season goes on. They'll start to get better and better and better. So Mahomes is going to be who Mahomes is against us, but maybe Benjamin St. Juice isn't who he is right now when we play the Chiefs, and it's going to be harder for them to pick on him. I mean, Mahomes is still going to do what he's going to do, but it's going to be harder. Let's see. Another key to victory, gotta pressure and force turnovers on Daniel Jones. Like, we got to get to him. I do not want to hear another like thing from the Giants fans saying Andrew Thomas dominates Chase Young. Please, Chase Young. Like, I really, really, really want Chase Young to just absolutely obliterate Daniel Jones.
Please.
Just have 3 sacks in this game. Just absolutely ball out. I don't want to hear it from these Giants fans. It is getting on my nerves. The 0-4 thing, and then the Andrew Thomas just dominating Chase Young really gets to me. So please get to Daniel Jones, especially Chase Young, but everyone get to him. Their offensive line is not great. They're out with their left. Shane Lemieux, their left guard, is out. Andrew Thomas actually did play well against the Broncos, but Von Miller wasn't on his side, and Bradley Chubb was out. So let's dominate their offensive line, not only in run defense, but let's get some pressure on Daniel Jones, force some turnovers, because Daniel Jones, he's solid besides the turnovers, but that it doesn't go hand in hand. He'll be good for most of the game, and then right when you need him, you're in the red zone, and he throws a turnover, throws an interception, or fumbles it away. Like, we got to force some turnovers on him. And it's like in that Giants game, I think it was the first Giants game last year, it was just like the one time Daniel Jones doesn't fumble is when Cameron Curl just comes off the edge and just kills him, and he somehow doesn't fumble. Just our luck against the Giants. Let's hope we can get some pressure on him.
Yes, big time. We definitely need to go get pressure on Daniel Jones. I mean, he's a frantic thrower. He's a frantic decision maker. So if you pressure him, he tends to make his own mistakes to where the Giants will beat themselves. Even though I do feel like we're the more talented team, Daniel Jones is the type of guy to where you can say, man, they really beat themselves. Like, God, that was Daniel Jones's fault. So, I just think pressure is going to help with a lot of that. They have to be motivated and angry. I mean, the way that all of the hype they had coming into the season just to go lay a dud against the Chargers, Chase Young has to be like, all right, I got to go back and reclaim my title. I have to show people why I won Defensive Rookie of the Year, because he definitely did not show it against the Chargers.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Also, we have to, Daniel Jones is actually very fast, and he can run the ball decently. So we have to be able to somewhat contain him and not fall for those read options, like the last time we played the Giants. It might have been the first game. Daniel Jones has tricked the whole defense, all 22 cameraman, everyone, the broadcast, and just went all the way across and got like 45 yards. Can't let that happen. He also had that great run against the Eagles where he stumbled. He's pretty quick. We got to contain him there as well. But we just got to force 1 or 2 turnovers, and I think we will able to win this game. Also, I think that we need to rely on our run game. Like, I think last week we did pretty well. I mean, we don't need Taylor Heinicke to go out there absolutely ball out. We just need him to manage the game, make some plays when we need to on 3rd and long, keep the play alive, and get us a first down. But our run game was great against the Chargers. Like
Yeah.
this Gibson had an amazing game besides the fumble, and that's kind of the same thing with like Daniel Jones. Like that's a big part of the game. Like if like
Yeah.
that fumble cost us. So I can't say he had a great game because that fumble really, really killed us. But he was great running the football. Actually did drop a pass too, but he also,
Yeah.
had a couple nice plays in the pass catching game. So let's feed it to Gibson, even Patterson a couple times. So we don't have to rely on Heinicke to make big, big plays. Only need to rely on him on those third and long situations because I think we can run the ball on the Giants. Not a ton because they do got a good interior, but if we can, run it, around the edge, that would be good. And one thing Gibson needs to work on, sometimes he just tries to do too much. He tries to,
Yeah.
just spin move, bounce it outside when he should go right up the middle. He makes his decisions sometimes a little bit. He predetermines that he's going to cut, and that just cut outside. So hopefully, they try to get him to stop doing that.
And another key, we talked about it briefly, but like Taylor Heinicke is a full-time starter. This is kind of new, and you spoke about it like how he's gonna finally have like almost a full week to prepare. But I'm interested in seeing how he rises to the challenge of going against a defense that's actually game planning for him specifically. Like they're at the in the film sessions. Like, okay, this is what Tyler Heinicke likes to do. This is what he's bad at. This is what he's good at. We need to attack those things. So this is going to be the first
Yeah.
time really that a defense has been like, this is their quarterback, Taylor Heinicke, and we're going to, do our best to mitigate what he does. Not specifically, because I mean, even the Buccaneers, I believe we didn't really announce Taylor Heinicke was a starter until like soon before. So they may have been game planning for Alex Smith and Taylor Heinicke before that game. So I'm interested in seeing what a team does once they know the entire week, almost an entire week, that Taylor Heinicke will be the starter. But there is on the other side, the offense has never really been built for Taylor Heinicke. We've just been throwing Taylor Heinicke into the Alex Smith offense. Now we just threw Taylor Heinicke into the Ryan Fitzpatrick offense. Now Scott Turner is actually going to have enough time to game plan an offense around him as well. So
Yeah.
I think it balances it out, and I'm just excited to see what Taylor Heinicke, how he responds.
Also, I think why I think we have the advantage, just in this terms, not necessarily in the whole game, but Washington, like I feel like teams kind of not only prepare for like because they get their schedule in May, so they have
Oh, good point.
so much time to prepare for week 1 that I feel like they also do a little bit of research on their other teams on week 2 and maybe week 3 a little bit. So I think they already had prepared for Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I think they already do that against divisional opponents like before the season starts. But also, I mean, they they didn't know Taylor Heinicke was going to start until after their game because we finished up our game. So they don't have even that much time to prepare. They have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 3 days to prepare. And I feel like, Heinicke, he's been in this system. I think he knows what to do, and we don't need to prepare too much because I feel like the offense, pretty much the same thing. Just Heinicke can, roll out a lot more and do a lot more things with his legs than Fitzpatrick. So there's going to be a few adjustments and maybe some personnel decisions where, some players like Cam Sims, he only played 2 snaps last week. He'll probably go up to like 10 or more snaps just because he's got some good chemistry with Taylor Heinicke. I got a Giants fan saying, this is pretty funny. He says, Giants taking the W if they fire Jason Garrett. And yeah, the Giants fans are going crazy on Jason Garrett. They absolutely hate the man, or at least as an offensive coordinator, they do not like him at all. So, I think it's going to be funny if Washington like wins, and Giants fans might even like I don't they probably won't like it, but like if we win like 21 to like 0, and then the Giants have like 89 total yards of offense, and then the Giants finally fire Jason Garrett. That way, that I hope that happens. I want a total domination where Giants fans like they can't bring anything up. Like we just kill them. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I really hope it happens. We have to win this game. So what do you think we will win this game? And if you do you have a score prediction?
Yeah, I definitely do feel like we'll win this game. I just feel like we're too talented. On paper, I feel like our coaching staff, even though they got out coached last week, I think they're definitely gonna bounce back. I personally would prefer to have maybe not throughout an entire season because of Taylor Heinicke's health, but if we need to win one game, I prefer Taylor Heinicke over Daniel Jones. And even if you just look at the matchups, I prefer our defensive line versus their offensive line easily. I think that's the biggest strength to weakness out of the entire game. I think our secondary is going to be straight against their receivers. I just think all. I mean, you could just spend minutes on the entire thing breaking it down. I think on paper we're just the better team. So I definitely see us winning. And again, I think we're very motivated because I mean, there's just no reason the defensive line looked like that the way they did against the Chargers, with us supposedly having the best defensive line in the NFL. So I think they're going to come out here and just by themselves be able to take over this game.
Yeah, and before we get to the donation, I'll give my little quick prediction. I feel pretty I don't know, I don't feel too confident about it because we just don't like we don't have that big of enough of a sample size on Heinicke to really know how good he is and how good he is as a starter. But I will believe I'll say we win 24-16. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I do think we win this game and our defense plays pretty well and helps our team win this game. Let's see. Landry, appreciate the $5 donation. He says we need to target Cam Sims more. JD and Patterson need to get more touches. Can't wait. I witnessed this W live at FedEx Field tomorrow night. Hey, I really, really hope we win because, like I said earlier, if we are 0-5 against Daniel Jones and the Giants, start out the season 0-2, it's not going to be a good Friday morning for me waking up, getting out of bed. It's going to be really, really hard. So hopefully we get this dub. And I agree. I think we need to get Cam Sims on the like 2 snaps is really low for him, especially when like Curtis Samuel is out. And last year he was getting way more snaps than 2. So I think we need to get him some more snaps, especially with Taylor Heinicke. Like he doesn't need to be playing all the snaps, but give him some more snaps, especially with Heinicke playing. And then I think, yeah, you mentioned it earlier. I think, JD McKissick, get him on the field, or not even, I think he was on the field for a decent amount of time, but they weren't really targeting him on third down. So maybe that's something they need to do. And then also, give Patterson a few more carries. I thought, only 2 carries, but 2 carries for 9 yards. He also had another carry where it was called back because of a sheriff penalty, but it was a solid run as well. So I agree with that and appreciate the $5 donation. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I'm really excited. I am a little bit more optimistic than you, but I'm just really, first of all, I'm excited to just have football back in general. But yeah, man, this 4-0 talk against us has to stop. Like it's just this is ridiculous, man. The fact that he's so great against us apparently, and then just so bad against everybody else, it just makes us look so bad. It doesn't matter
yeah,
we won the division. I mean, it does, but it's just crazy that we're 0-4 against the Giants since he's been drafted here.
and we are literally we handed them the last 2 wins. I mean,
Oh,
the first game against the Giants, Kyle Allen, I don't even know what he did. He just like did the weirdest thing
the
ever. Literally,
fumble
like
interception thing.
just dumps it off right to the Giants, and they get a touchdown right when we're moving into their territory. We're like at their own 40. We're about to score. We had the lead already. I think we were going to win that game, and we also went for 2 at the end of the game when we shouldn't have. Should have won that game, and then we had 6 turnovers. 6 turnovers in that second Giants game. Oh, that was a rough game. No one, Logan Thomas, Gibson, no one could just fall on that fumble. That was just ridiculous.
Man.
I am worked up about if we don't win against the Giants, man. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
It's just so crazy. I mean, I know I'm repeating myself, but the fact that we're just on 4 against them. We held it tight with the Buccaneers. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just divisional games are always weird though.
The Giants. This is such a crazy stat. They haven't had a winning record since I think it's either 2016 or 2017. Think about that. That means they've never ever. I'm not saying after the season's over. I'm saying during the season, they've never had a record over 500. So they've never since 2016 or 2017, they've never been like 1-0 or over 500. They've been
Yeah.
under 500 for 4 years straight throughout the whole year. The whole year.
That is
And we're
crazy.
0-4 against them.
That
Um,
is
we we
crazy.
we gotta win. We have to win. Daniel Jones, like even like he balled out against us like 2 out of those games, but also even the games he doesn't play well in, we lose to. So let's hope. Let's hope we win. I think the Giants, like I know everyone's kind of saying like we should win by a lot, but I mean they're not as bad as people think. Like
Oh
heading into the
yeah.
season, I thought their defense was going to be good. I thought their skill position players were going to be good, and really the only big question mark was going to be Daniel Jones. I'm not a Daniel Jones believer, but I still kind of thought they would get in that 7 to 9, like 7, 8 or 9 wins this season. That still definitely could happen. We'll see how Daniel Jones progresses because he's really the biggest X factor because they got skill position players. I also like us playing them week 2 because they are not healthy. Not only are they not healthy, but like Kenny Galladay just got back, so they're easing him back in. Kadarius
Mhm.
Toney is definitely they're easing him back in. Saquon is not he's not fully back. They're not giving him that many touches.
Yeah.
Evan Ingram is out. So I think we are catching him at the right time because in a few
Same.
weeks, I think their offense is going to look a lot different just in terms of the players that are playing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree. I feel like before training camp, I was really high on him, but then after training camp, the Kenny Galladay dropping passes, then he like got hurt again, a little banged up again, but nothing too serious, but just a typical Kenny Galladay is hurt type of thing, and the lack of discipline with the pile up on Daniel Jones. So like I was honestly definitely higher on the Giants before training camp. Training camp, took that down a little bit. But I still think the Giants are a more talented team than like just the general nation gives them credit for.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Giants fan says, watch out for Sterling Shepard. That's all I'm saying. But let's see how the game goes tomorrow. Yeah, I mean Sterling Shepard had a good game. He's a solid guy. He's a solid receiver. Nothing like amazing, but he's just like a really good slot receiver in the NFL. So we'll see. So yeah, any like we'll talk for a couple more minutes and then answer some questions. Any closing thoughts about this game? Things we need to do, or any players you think either need to ball out for us, or just players you think will do well.
Well, I mean, again, to reiterate, man, it's just so refreshing to have a special teams to where it's not just the punt coverage because Tressway is one of the best punters in the NFL, but now we can also, help our starting field position situation with the return game as well. I think DeAndre Carter is going to eventually break one this year. I'm not saying he's going to break one tomorrow, but I mean, it's just the consistent 9 to 12 yards that he gets on every return is just a huge help compared to what we've had the past few years. And like you said, I just hope that continues. That's big for us right now.
Yeah, definitely. And Favilla, appreciate you coming through, man. Subscribe if you're new. Or yeah, I mean you are new, you said that. So hopefully you can subscribe. And I mean, yeah, I think this should be a good game between two teams that need to get this win. I mean, both of these teams 0-1, and I think the Giants also have a tough schedule. How are you feeling about we didn't talk about it, but Charles Leno, like I feel like that's in like he needs to play better. He did not have a great week. And that play that Fitzpatrick got hurt on was because of Leno.
Yeah. So overall, the situation, I'm not too worried because I just like the fact that we have Cornelius Lucas as a backup. I thought he was solid at left tackle. But Charles Leno himself, I am worried about.
Yeah.
So I mean, hopefully Scott Turner realizes that, and whenever we run bootlegs and have Taylor Heinicke roll out, it's to the right side just in case. But yeah, Charles Leno. I mean, and Bears fans have been warning us on Twitter, YouTube, whatever. Like, watch out for Charles Leno. There's a reason we got rid of him. Good luck and all of that stuff. And then the first game, he goes and gets our $10 million free agent signing quarterback out for 6 to 8 weeks. So it's definitely not a good start for him. And he's definitely one of the guys that a lot of us are going to have our microscope on during this Giants game because, boy, he has to get it together. That's the quarterback's blind side.
Yeah, and I was surprised, like this is kind of a little bit off topic, but I was surprised that they had Sadiq Charles as an inactive. Like just because he can play tackle and guard. So if one of those guys goes down, he can play both positions. But I guess they feel comfortable with Lucas and also with Larson at center and Schweitzer at either guard position.
Yeah. Oh, and that's another point. The inactives. Before that game started, I saw the only inactives were Ryan Fitzpatrick and Taylor Heinicke at quarterback. I was like, both of these guys have a rich injury history. And then next thing you know, Ryan Fitzpatrick goes down. Now we're watching the game like Taylor Heinicke, please don't get hurt, because then Logan Thomas is the quarterback. And I just hope we don't repeat that same mistake with only two active quarterbacks, Taylor Heinicke and Kyle Allen. But with Kyle Shermer still currently on the practice squad, that may be what they're doing. And both of them have been hurt. I mean, just recently as last year. So I'm definitely worried about the potential of Logan Thomas being our quarterback. And not even just because Logan Thomas, the quarterback itself, how he'll look as a quarterback, but that's a weapon we're taking away. If Logan Thomas is not playing, is that quarterback, he's not playing tight end. And that's one of my biggest issues with that situation.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I definitely agree. We gotta target a little off topic, but we gotta target Logan Thomas and Terry this week. That's one of the keys to
Please.
victory. Let's see. Kenny Stanley, Cowboys fan, he says you guys could trade for Marcus Mariota. I mean, I feel like first off, I think I saw that there was like he had an injury and it could be serious. But besides that, I just think at this point, like it's kind of hard to trade for a quarterback mid-season. Like they have to know the offense and especially as a starter. So I think we're gonna go after a quarterback this off season, whether it's a big name guy like I don't know of any free agents, but Rogers, Wilson, Watson, if that gets, resolved. I know those are long shots, but it could happen. Maybe Matt Ryan, or go after someone in the draft, which definitely would be something we could do. I think that's what we do instead of trading for someone like Mariota. Let's see. But yeah, I think we got to find our guy, and the guy more likely than not is not on the roster right now.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. And you know me, man. I'm a big college guy, so like I already have my favorites. I'm not, I don't think Matt Corral, Carson Strong, or Malik Willis will necessarily be like first overall. Like they may not end the season better than Spencer Rattler, but those are my guys. Just like how there was Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson at the top, but I really like Justin Fields and Trey Lance. It's kind of the same thing. Spencer Rattler's at the top. I like Spencer Rattler. I'm not a big fan of Sam Howell, but Malik Willis, Carson Strong, and Matt Corral are definitely my guys I'm really intrigued by right now.
And I feel like honestly, the quarterbacks from this past year's class, they so far have looked, the ones that have played have looked, at least okay. Mac Jones looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people were hating on him, but I would have been fine if we would have ended up picking him at 19. Obviously unrealistic, but it would have been nice if we could have gotten him. Trevor Lawrence, he didn't look great, but he looked decent. I mean, 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards, had 3 picks, but that is not expected, but you're not surprised as a rookie. And then Zach Wilson looked okay. He showed the potential he has. And then Trey Lance and Justin Fields both in their limited roles, I believe they both scored touchdowns.
Trey Lance threw for one, and Justin Fields ran for one. So
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting that they're incorporating them so early. They're not starting, but normally a quarterback just sits and watches and holds the clipboard on the sideline for games. But they're like bringing them in as a part of the offense as a running options, which is really interesting. And I've been having fun watching it.
And I think honestly, I think that's a good method because Garoppolo probably, I think we can agree, is the better quarterback now. I think Lance obviously has way more
Mm-hmm.
potential than Garoppolo. But instead of having him sit back for a full year not doing anything, you're giving him some exposure to live action. Even if it's only 3, 4, 5, 6 plays in a game, you're giving him action. So even if he doesn't start a single game, let's say he averages, 7. What did Trey Lance play? How many snaps did he play? Not many.
Not many at all. I mean, I can recall 3.
So
He
let's
may have
say
played 6.
so maybe they only play like 5, 6 snaps a game. Like that's still 102 snaps. That's 102 snaps
Mm-hmm.
over the season, and that's like they play 2 full games, and maybe eventually, if Garoppolo or the 49ers are killing someone, you can put in Trey Lance for the last quarter, something like that. I feel like I honestly like the approach by both of these teams. Obviously, you probably want the Bears to put in Justin Fields because Andy Dalton isn't that guy, and they don't really have like an elite team around Andy Dalton. Like it's different with the 49ers because Jimmy Garoppolo a decent amount better than Andy Dalton, and also they have a really really good team around Garoppolo. So I think that's why Trey Lance might not officially start until
Mhm.
last year or sorry next year.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, even Pat Mahomes sat it basically entire. The only reason he played his rookie season was because the Chiefs already secured their playoff spot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think there's a lot of different ways that teams are going through things right now, and yeah, we'll see how everything shakes out this week. We'll answer a couple more questions and then call it a day. Appreciate you coming on, Rico. Again, guys, make sure you
Sweet.
guys check him out. Great Washington football team YouTuber, always posting great content. Does his streams, does his film breakdowns, does his game recaps. Great content. And we got 116 people in here. Make sure you
Yes,
guys sub up to both of us
sir.
and hit that like button. And Brian, if you can, before we do wrap it up, put Rico's link in there again. I'm sure most of you guys are subscribed to him. But yeah, we talked about this. This is a big week for Washington. Go 1-1 heading into week 3. You got 10 days of rest. I'm feeling solid about the season. Instead of if we're 0-2, like going into week 3 against the Bills, that's concerning. And we just need to be, okay by the time we get to like if we can get to that Raiders game, like a game below 500 or 500, well, I don't know what the numbers are, but if we can get around 500, one game above or one or two games below, heading into that Raiders game and that NFC East just gauntlet at the end of
Gauntlet.
5 straight games, if we can go there, I feel like we're in good shape because maybe Fitzpatrick's back or maybe Heinicke's just balling, and we have 6 games against winnable opponents. You got the Raiders, who they play good against the Ravens, but the Raiders always like they start out good. Last year they start out really hot, and then they ended
Yeah, they
up
beat the Chiefs last year
yeah,
once.
yeah. So we'll see about the Raiders. But we have 6 games at the end of the season against very winnable opponents. There's definitely a chance we win 4 out of those 6. And if we do, or even 3, but we probably got to win 4. If we win 4 out of those 6, we can definitely make a run to the playoffs. So, like I said, appreciate you coming on, Rico. Appreciate everyone who came through today. And yeah, it's a big game tomorrow. Let's hope that we get this W.
Yes, man.
Peace,
Please.
peace out, guys.